Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Okay, I know I am juxtaposed between you and your lunch, but it's extremely important to have the good afternoon right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So I'm going to tell a story. A story of two monks. Okay? So there was once a senior monk and a junior monk. And they were ready to cross the river, and the river had a really turbulent current. And just as they were going to start, a woman arrives. Yes? And a woman arrives and she's asking them, can you help me go through and pass the river? The monks look at each other. You see, they have vowed never to touch a woman. But rest assured, the older monk picks her up, transports her across the river. You see, now the younger monk is a little baffled. We vow never to touch a woman. So 2 hours passed, 3 hours passed. You see, he can't control himself. So finally he blurts, how did you pick her up? We have vowed never to touch a woman. Well, the wiser monk looked at him and said, I dropped her off on the side of the river long ago. You're the one that's still carrying her. Yes? Well, you see, within us exists the fact that we do want to drop and leave the past behind. We want to be the wiser monk, you know. But what to do? We have parts within us, you know. We are that younger monk. We carry the past. We carry the regrets. And we have those moments. And that's the truth of life, that we have this experience of being the younger monk. So, I'm a doctor of medicine. I'm a psychologist. For the last 20 years of my life, this is all I've ever known. I don't know anything else. But the journeys of people, close to 15,000 that I have assisted, they have inspired me to understand today that happiness is a state on a continuum. It's an experience on a continuum. And you see, in our life, what is a continuum? A continuum is where one element is slightly different from the one next to it, but the extremes are very different from each other. So the fact is, we oscillate through the continuum, and happiness is somewhere in between that continuum. But you see, what happens? We fear the left side of the continuum. We want to be always right, metaphorically and actually. We want to be always right. We fear this side of the continuum. But if I told you for a single moment, don't think of a pink elephant. Don't think of a pink elephant. What's the first image in your mind? Pink elephant. What to do? The mind is like that, you know. So what we resist persists. So the more you tell yourself, don't think about this side of the continuum, it's going to happen. That's how the mind is engineered. And so, Carl Jung, one of my most favorite psychologists, he spoke of collective consciousness. He, in his quote, asked us a very interesting question. He said, would you rather be good or complete? What did he say? Good or complete, he asked us. Which means, in infinite wisdom, good and complete don't go together. Hear him out. That means, in order to be complete, I have to accept the young monk in me and the wise monk in me. To think that I will avoid or abhor the young monk and only move towards the wiser one is illusion. And that is why we coined proudly what we would like to call the happiness continuum. And in the journey of the happiness continuum, if I can see it one more time, Gurdarshan, please. I'd like to ask each one of you for a moment, where are you on the happiness continuum in the last 48 hours of your life? You don't have to tell me, this is for yourself. Ask yourself, where are you in the last 48 hours? Where do you want to be? Just reflect for a moment. Yes, our well-being is somewhere in the center of the continuum. I'm not taking that away from you, that the well-being is to oscillate in the center. But the fact and the truth is, we move through the continuum pretty effectively. So you see, I work with this very dynamic man here, Gurdarshan. Say hi to him, everybody, okay?
Hi.
Okay? Lot of the work we do is possible because of his left brain. You left to me, I'd only tell stories. So this understanding of happiness and models of happiness really intrigued me. And we started penning down our thoughts. And in about 2018, we interacted with 3,000 corporate employees to understand what brought them on the continuum, their journeys to oscillate in the balance, which was beyond their current mental and emotional states. And I'm going to share with you the findings of the MindSpa research. So this is what we found as 3 roadblocks. See, when you're finding something, you find the blocks first, right? So we found the 3 blocks that prevented people from being happy in corporate India 2018 2019. So dil thaam ke suniye, okay? So my question to you is, how many of us have checked our mobile phones in the last 1 hour at least once? Put your right hand up. If hands up in the air, I love hands up in the air. Checked it twice, 2 hands up. Checked it thrice, stand up. Checked it 4 times, right leg up. Come on, do it. Yes? Anybody else who's saying no is fibbing, you know. Okay, everybody's done it. We need some women honesty and men honesty too, sorry. So, there, okay. Our research showed that 73% of people slept in the same room as their phone. But the wife, spouse is there, we don't know. Phone is there always. Sab dardo ki ek dawa, okay. And then, they also said that 60% said that they spend more time on their phone than they actually intended. It's like saying every day morning, I'm walking and I have to slip on that bloody same banana skin again. Because you spend more time. You think you're not going to do it, but you slip on the banana skin again. So just look at the numbers. If you do the math of the number of minutes, millennials are spending 6 hours, boomers are spending 5 hours. Okay, we're not very far. 5 hours on that device. And first thing in the morning, we don't think of ourselves or how our day is to be. 52% said that we needed the phone first thing in the morning. How many of us check our phone first thing in the morning? Yes, okay, a lot in the room, okay. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about, and see yourself now.
Really?
Really?
It's time.
Yes. So how many of us spotted ourselves there? Yes. So let me tell you a little bit about the impact of this, okay. By the way, you know how many times an individual checks his phone in a single day? Clicks, types, switch. 2,617 times a day, okay. Every time we do that to our devices, we release a chemical called dopamine. Now dopamine is a chemical of reward. It makes us happy, like all of us will get prizes, you know, we get happy. But the excess amount of dopamine that gets circulated in our brains makes us feel very hyper-excitable. That means I will feel pleasure and happy only if that comes in. Have you seen people sometimes in elevators, they are doing like this, taka-tak, taka-tak. You're not getting network, what are you doing? Because the relief comes only when that happens. So our happiness has started getting attached to that releasing of a chemical. And then when we go to sleep at night, yes, we're not having conversation because we're on Netflix or Amazon, right? Now the blue light of a phone suppresses melatonin in our brain. Melatonin is a chemical of sleep so that we get deep sleep. But instead of that, we're getting junk sleep. We wake up in the morning, what did we see? We need the phone, dopamine again. So we go to work with excess dopamine, making us feel impatient, critical thinking getting challenged because everything is very anxious. Yes? And what do we say? Work is stressful. But it's not the work, it's the way we are working isn't working. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. You know, our focus today is less than a goldfish. Our focus is 8 seconds, goldfish is 9 seconds. What productivity and performance? Today, it's linked. See, what happens is because we're so much in a device, the human element of talking to people, yes, loneliness is highest noted with technology. Because we have forgotten what it is for human connections. Relationships, you can write this down. Relationships are the biggest casualty of not knowing how to deal with a device. And because we don't know what it is to be alone, so the science of creativity says that you have to spend alone time. But how are we going to spend alone time? Because you have panic of aloneness, not the peace and solitude of it, right? Which is why you have to go for retreats then to do it, which is interesting. Yes, on that note, we understood their digital habits, and then we moved to the next roadblock. And the next roadblock, so how many of us express our emotions at home very easily? How many of us express our emotions at work? Okay, and at work, how do you express your emotions? You express, some hands have gone down. Yes? So emotions are always underplayed in this Indian context. For some strange reason, we have been trained, okay, whilst we are growing up, don't express your emotions, people will see it as a weakness. We've heard those lines before, no? Be tough. Now what happens is today, although we know all these EQ trainings we get say, managing emotions is extremely important in leading large teams, yes? But how to do it, no one tells us, which is unfortunate, okay? So the interesting thing is, and I'm going to ask you to watch this really sweet clipping and I will translate it for those that need to understand.
Hey hero, धक्का क्यों दिया?
मैंने धक्का दिया? माना मैंने धक्का दिया, तुझे पसंद नहीं, तो तूने क्यों लिया?
कमाल है, ये हीरो इतनी तकलीफ में भी आराम में है।
So for those that need to understand, the actor said, push someone. And the opposite person says, oh, why did you push me? The actor says, I pushed you. Why the hell did you take it? And the message that I'm taking from this ad, apart from what he's trying to sell, is the fact that today fitness is the ability to fit in and adapt. Physical fitness is our physical ability. Emotional fitness is how we come back to our balance through the cuts and bruises of daily life. Because today we're human beings. We're interacting with other human beings, yes? I actually, on this last Friday, I was in Delhi, I presented with the AVP of Cognizant for the future of work. And you will be amazed, I will shock you. He said, in the next 10 years, most of us think that AI and robotics are going to take over the world. He showed a beautiful graph of Cognizant that said, nothing like that. He said, actually, 75% of us will be only enabled through AI, 13% more jobs will be created. So contrary to our beliefs that it's taking over us, it's not. Humans will continue to interact with humans. And as long as they do, we will feel emotions. So in our research, 44% of people said they come to work with feeling guilt. Now today, guilt doesn't let us be in the present moment. Where is guilt taking us? In the past. We start ruminating, right? Very little of us is in the present moment. So let's do this to be in the now. Let's take a deep breath in. Breathe out with a sound. Ha, sound. Follow my instruction. Breathe in. Ha. Now notice how that feels. The sound is important. Sound. Ha. What we did is release some serotonin in our brains and actually came to the present moment for just a minuscule second. But it's important because with the amount of dopamine in our system, with no serotonin, we're very far away in our continuum. Yes? So people then spoke about how their mind was preoccupied with thoughts and they were not able to relax. The culture of always being on, because we take home to work, work to home, yes? And where is our mind if you're not working? What are we doing? If you're not on a computer or doing a call, what are we doing? We're checking some feeds and messages and social media, yes? And over there, what we get on social media? We get likes, which we mistake for love, yes? But then we come back to the real world, not so many people are liking us in the real world, yes? So we jump back into the social media world, because the real world we feel rejection, okay? So we feel emotions all the time, and with the presence of devices, we are not trained to come back and be emotionally fit. Today, emotional quotient trainings are not helping us how to be fit and deal with those emotions. They are saying it's important. Now, how many of us need the great elixir of truth, which is why corporate trainings can be very fun. By the evening, what happens is they have great elixir of truth. What is great elixir of truth? Everybody knows? Yes, all the truth comes up. So how many of us need this to speak the truth? Suddenly no hand is going up. I'm going to look at all of you all in the evening, okay, at Bandra. 42% of people said they cannot express themselves freely. Yes, whether you feel bullied, you feel you're not respected, you're not heard enough, you're not belonged enough, you will not express. And then if nothing else is left, we will text. So the art of texting is more than the art of talking. And that is why today communication, the art of communication is reducing even further. And when we bottle up inside us, all these emotions frustrate us even further, because we are not taught the art of expression. Which is why the one thing that we recommend is, first is emotional literacy. So I was hired once to coach the leadership team at an organization, and they said build happiness, but they said it subtly. You know, they were not very open about it. So when I asked the CEO, I said, so how are you feeling? He said, I'm good. So I looked at him and said, how are you feeling? Trying to keep a poker face. He said, yaar, kya karu? How are you feeling? There's so much to do. How are you feeling? I'm just overwhelmed. Now see, from feeling okay to sad to overwhelmed, our dictionary of emotions is very little. We've not taught how many emotions are there, what are we really feeling, how to identify. The minute he said overwhelmed, there's a solution in it, prioritize. So the beauty of emotional literacy is that it will have a solution embedded in it. And like I've been saying, we are not taught how to put emotional first aid bandages. We have physical first aid rooms in our offices, but not emotional first aid clinics. And that is the need of the hour. And third, being emotionally fit is not a ritual. Please note this down in your mind. Like you wash your hands, you keep telling your children, wash your hands before you eat, take a bath in the morning. Nobody tells us to be emotionally fit as a ritual. Do you need a reminder to take a bath? No, because it's part of the plan. To brush, part of the plan. In organizations or even in our life, let's face it, being emotionally fit is not part of the plan. You have to take out. Willpower is not at will. The minute you will bring willpower in the picture, your plan will go for a flop. You have to make it a ritual. So quickly turn to the person sitting next to you for about 10 seconds. Just turn to someone sitting next to you. Quickly turn, preferably someone you don't know. Yes? And for the next few moments, have no pressing need for verbal diarrhea. Only look inside their eyes. Have no pressing need to talk, even across age, gender boundaries. Just look inside someone's eyes. Have no pressing need to talk. See what is happening. Just notice, eyes, we're looking inside each other's eyes. We have this need to laugh and giggle and yes, it's either the toughest thing I told you all morning or the easiest. Decide. But look. Have no pressing need to talk. Just look. And now close your eyes and notice how it feels to be understood, just through the eyes. Now open your eyes and speak out loud to the opposite person, I understand you. Now notice how it feels to be understood. Yes? So today, at the University of Essex, they studied the beauty of eyes and connectedness through the eyes and communication. And just at looking eye to eye builds trust and builds empathy. They also concluded through various experiments, and I'm only giving it to you in short, in meetings where teams came together, whether they were leaders, managers, no one cares because we're still human beings. They came to meetings with cell phones, and it was reported that those meetings that with cell phones, because if the phone is not ringing, you have phantom ringing happening in your head. It's the sports feed which is troubling you, or an Instagram picture perhaps. We have the relentless pull to that substance called the cell phone. Humans were not able to connect. Trust was lower. Social connectedness lower. So in organizations or in families, when you want to build trust, the most fundamental thing, whether the trust is vulnerability based or transactional based, and there are various kinds of trust that I can talk about, but the basics is to get the phone out of the picture. Am I clear? Yeah, okay. So empathy starts with that. So
At this rate, he'll collapse.
Oh dear.
He's had it.
What he needs is a tonic. Oh, he needs something much stronger. Humble Sinkara.
Quite right. Because only Sinkara has 27 mineral elements, essential vitamins, and natural herbs to give you new strength, new enthusiasm, and new vigor. Sinkara.
yes. So how many of us want employees like that breaking through the door? But what we really get is very, very different. How many of us may get people that are looking like this? Or you may be one of them too. Yes? So the third block that we encountered on this journey is burnout. Okay? Now tell me why, if you're tired when you go to work, it's tough to be exhausted and happy at the same time, by the way, at one point in time on a daily basis. Yeah, you can't be. When you come to work, you're exhausted. Can you tell why now? I've already told you. Because you haven't slept well. You remember junk sleep, no deep sleep because of the phone. You come to work feeling exhausted and tired. So 52% said we are tired waking up. Yes? And then 50% said we don't get time to do things that make us happy. Obviously, we're married to work. Kunal gave a very nice say that we actually come to work for most of the days in the workspace. And the little time we get, we've occupied it with other things which are not very meaningful. So we don't get time to do the little things that make us happy. And 42% of people said we don't really reflect enough. So if I asked you for a moment to close your eyes and just think about your life 10 years from now, just breathe, 10 years from now, whatever thoughts and visions you get, another 20 years from now, stay with the thoughts and visions in your head, another 30 years from now, and just move forward in time to the moment of your death in this lifetime. See yourself dying, and what would that person, as he's dying, the wise part within you, tell the person of today? Hear those messages. And slowly open your eyes. And you make a note of those little messages you get. But the question is, how often do we spend time in asking ourselves, what is it that makes me really happy? listening to that voice of the wise part within you is extremely important part of our daily life. So here, the fact is that the way we're working isn't working. Today, we have become human doings and not human beings. And so the simple solution that we have for you today, in fact, is called as Plan B. So we're sharing with you what we'd like to call as our magnum opus at Mind Spa. We truly believe that if there is digital hygiene in organizations or your life, it's not very different. If you are truly emotionally fit and you have more energy, is the gift of happiness at the center. And along with that, you actually have additional benefits. So if you look at the Venn diagram, if you are digitally hygiened and you are emotionally fit and you have eye-to-eye connections, you will build trust and real human relationships. If you are emotionally fit and you have energy, you will voice yourself. So all the perspectives of diversity, inclusion come in this. And if you have more energy and you are digitally hygiene, will you have focus? Today, the future of work belongs to two things: focus economy. Today, our memories are fading, so we will have chief memory officers, which is why it is important to build focus, trust, and expression, and managing these three is the key. Overcoming these blocks is the key to your happiness. So the future of happy workspaces, we actually spoke, like we said, to a group of architects and interiors this Friday at the Shangri-La, where we spoke about, see, most people say, and the room full of HR, and not a single architect here, but most people would say that building happy spaces is job of the HR. The HR will say, but there's the space for it. So which mother is bigger, the one who births or the one who maintains or grows or nurtures a child? In our opinion, both are equally important. So we developed the three-prong approach, and we are more and more spending time so that people can build happy spaces so that the others can lead and operate it. So first have the design in place, then take care of the operation, and then the leadership stories to break stigmas, to share stories and build happiness. So we have really easy recommendations. The simplest one is to switch off notifications, delete unwanted apps, have a digital creche at office and at home. Use the phone to be digitally hygiened. We're not taking technology away from your life, but maintain it in a balanced way. In cafeterias, keep the phones out so people can have real human connection. Plan B is to really invest in me time at offices and have heart-to-heart conversations, spending time and relaxing. To be emotionally fit, create a space. The problem is, so there is a report by SAP which said that the 66% of people said that the reason why people don't take care of their happiness is because they don't have the time and the space to do so. Okay, so it's important to create the space so that people can identify their emotions, ask themselves what they feel, what they want to talk about, build waste baskets. Like you have physical waste baskets, build emotional waste baskets as well. Have room so that people can release their anger and have private conversation. It's important to speak your truth each single day. There are very easy techniques called emotional freedom techniques that can help you in this journey. But understanding, asking yourself through the day periodically, what am I feeling? What am I really, really feeling? Can I breathe through this? Can I throw what I don't want is extremely important. And the next plan B for building more energy is to allow people to receive periodic relaxations. The human body works in a cycle of 90-20. It's called a circadian rhythm. That means 90 minutes you can focus, have flow experiences of productivity. 20 minutes you must get up and relax. You must get up, move your body. That will actually build your energy levels. The secret mantra, like everybody says, having gratitude at the workplace is important because sharing gratitude again releases serotonin. Remember, the more you will reduce the elements and negative impacts of dopamine, the more you will increase the serotonin and ways to increase serotonin and have human interactions with oxytocin is where happiness will be built. We truly believe that plan B of the future of workspaces, if we have this happiness, this hygiene built in. We believe that together, you and me will hopefully live to see a world where plan B is truly plan A. Thank you very, very much for patiently listening.